Hi guys, today we are going to be working on the IXL assignment of YA8, the area of circles. First, let's start off with reviewing some important circle vocabulary. When we have a circle, there are two potential measurements we will be using today. One of them is called the radius. So your radius is the red line here, the R, that starts at the center of the circle and it measures all the way to one edge. So it's from the center to one edge. Then the diameter, that goes from one edge through the center all the way to the other edge. So a way to think of this is the diameter is all the way across your circle. The radius is only halfway across the circle. And if you look on the right here, there's a fun little Star Wars meme to kind of help you out. So the radius, we just have half of the lightsaber lit up. And then the diameter, it is both ends for Darth Maul here. That means, mathematically speaking, that your diameter is twice the radius. And your radius, then in turn, is only half of your diameter. We'll see here in a little bit why that's important to know. Our focus for today is finding the area of a circle. So remember, the area is the inside of that shape. So it's how much space fills up the inside. And the formula that we can use to find the area of any circle is area is equal to pi times radius squared. Now remember, pi is an irrational number, so it goes on forever and ever and ever without stopping. Today, we're going to be using the approximate version of pi of 3 1400ths, or 3.14. Another thing to note is because of this, you are allowed to use a calculator. If you have your own, that is awesome. If not, my personal favorite online calculator is desmos.com/scientific. It is free. When it comes up, it'll look like this. One of the reasons I like it is very similar to the format of the calculator you'll be using on your FSA. So by you getting used to using this now, it'll be one less new thing that could potentially cause a little bit of stress during an important test. Okay, let's head on over to IXL and get our practice on. All right, here we are on IXL. YA8, area of circles. The radius of a circle is 4 kilometers. What is the circle's area? Then we have a diagram, and it shows us, in fact, that the radius is 4 kilometers. And down below, it reminds us to use the approximation 3.14 for pi. All right, now we need to make sure we remember our formula. If you haven't written this down yet, either back the video up a little bit and take some notes, or go ahead and jot it down right now. So the formula for area of a circle is area is equal to pi times our radius squared. Whenever you use formulas, the first thing you need to do is figure out what formula you need to use. We've done that. And then next, identify the information you are given. We are told in both the word problem and in our diagram that the radius is 4 kilometers. And we are instructed to use the approximation 3.14 for pi. That's all the information it gives me, other than, oh, I forgot this part, this is important, it's our question, what we're trying to find. We are wanting to find the area. Now that that's complete, your next step is always to substitute. So substitute, if you think of like a substitute teacher, someone's coming in to replace your regular teacher for the day. So what we're doing is we are replacing, we are plugging in our values, our numbers, for our variables, our letters. All right, A, that's going to stay a variable because that's our question. We don't know what that is. It's what we're trying to find out. And then for pi, we are using 3.14. and that is being multiplied. And I know it's being multiplied because they're right next to each other. But now that I have numbers, if we put them right next to each other, it's just going to look like the same number. So we need to use like parentheses or a dot to represent multiplication. Our radius is 4, and our formula tells us that that is squared. Now that everything's substituted, we're going to follow the order of operations to simplify and find our area. Well, order of operations tells us to deal with any parentheses that are a grouping symbol. I don't have any of that. However, I do have the next step down below, and that's exponents. Remember that when you have an exponent, it is that number, so your base, times itself that many times. To put it into perspective, in this case, it is 4 times itself twice. So 4 squared means 4 times 4. That is our first step. 4 times 4 would be 16. Our exponents are done. Now we can move down to multiplication. This is where you do have permission to use a calculator. So multiply 3.14 times 16, and we find out that our area is 50 and 24 hundredths square kilometers. So 50 and 24 hundredths, and they already have our label there for us, which is awesome. Okay, here is another one. The radius of a circle is 1 millimeter. What is the circle's area? And once again, they told us in word form and in our picture that the radius is 1. And for this whole assignment, you will be using 3.14 for pi. All right, see if you can remember your formula for area. Area is equal to what? Pi times our radius squared. All right, we got our formula, we have our information labeled. Let's substitute them, let's plug them in. Area, that stays in A because that's our unknown, it's what we're trying to find. Pi is 3.14, and then that is times our radius squared. So our radius is 1, and we are squaring that. Now let's use order of operations to simplify. Exponents comes before multiplication. What would be 1 squared? Well, 1 times 1 is just 1. So we have 3.14 times 1. Now we need to do our multiplication. Oh, look, I can do this without a calculator because anything times 1 is itself. So 3.14 times 1 is equal to 3.14. So the area of this circle is 3 and 14 hundredths square millimeters. All right, sometimes you will get problems that are words only and there's no picture, there's no diagram to go along with it, but that's okay. We can do it. It still gives us everything we need. We are told that the radius of a circle is 7 yards. We are being asked to find the area, and we are using 3.14 for pi. All right, remember our formula, area is equal to pi r squared. If you say this out loud just like I do every time, eventually you'll get it memorized, which is good because you'll be learning lots of formulas. So just like hopefully you know that the area of a square is length times width. This one will come just as ingrained as that, and you will remember this formula. Let's substitute our values in. Area stays a variable. That's what we're trying to find. We substitute 3.14 in for pi. And then our radius is 7 yards. So 7 is being substituted in for r. Let's follow order of operations. The two operations we have here are exponents and multiplication. Exponents comes first. What would be 7 squared? This right here is where I think the most mistakes could happen, because we need to remember that it is not, let me pause and say that again, it is not 7 times 2. 7 squared is 7 times itself 2 times. So that means 7 times 7, which would be 49. Now we're left with multiplication. You're allowed to break out that calculator. 3.14 times 49 gives us an area of 153 and 86 hundredths. Awesome. All right, so we have bumped it up a notch here. The diameter of a circle is 38 meters. What is the circle's area? So this is the first one we've had like this. It's giving us the diameter. So not only does it tell us it's the diameter, if we look at our diagram here, notice that it goes all the way across. In our formula, do we need the diameter? No, we need the radius. So be careful not to just be in the groove so much that you don't read the directions and you accidentally use the diameter. What's the relationship between diameter and radius again? Radius is only from the center to one edge. So radius is half of your diameter. So if we're given diameter, in order to find radius, we can cut it in half. We can divide it by 2. So if your diameter, let me use the right colors here. If your diameter is equal to 38, if we divide that by 2, it will give us the radius. What would be 38 divided by 2? 19. That means our radius is 19. That is what we need to use in our formula. So be careful when you get to a little bit higher of a SMART score to watch for that. Are you given diameter or are you given radius? If you're given diameter, you need to divide by 2, so you have the radius, which is needed for our formula. All right, let's substitute and solve. Area is equal to 3.14 times our radius, which is 19 squared. All right, 19 squared is not one that I have memorized. Remember, when you use your calculator, I'll even hold it up to the camera here, it is 19 times 19. So 19 times itself 2 times. Area is equal to 3.14 times 361. Now we need to multiply, and we do get a large number. That will happen, but that's okay. We have our calculator. We just have to make sure we type everything in properly. 1,133 and 54 hundredths. I'm going to choose to type this in without any commas just to make sure I don't put the comma in the wrong spot and get something wrong. I just think it's a little safer. So 1,133 and 54 hundredths. All right. Let's see if we can find one more with a diameter, and then we will close out. All right, here we go. This will be our last problem. We are told the diameter is 98 kilometers. We want to find the area, and we are using 3.14 for pi. All right, remember, diameter is all the way across your circle. But what we need is from the center to the edge. We only need half of that for our radius. The diameter is 98. divide the diameter by 2. So 98 divided by 2 is 49. That means our radius is 49 kilometers. Now we have the radius, which is what we need for our formula. Let's finish off our problem. Area of a circle, area is equal to pi r squared. That stays in A because we're trying to find the area. 3.14 is for pi, and 49 is our radius. Definitely going to have a large number here. Remember, 49 squared means 49 times itself twice. So 49 times 49. Area is equal to 3.14 times 2,401. Whew, big number. That means the area of this circle is 7,539 and 14 hundredths square kilometers. All right, it is now your guys' turn to try. Remember a couple different things here. 1, use some note paper, use a calculator, work it out. 2, there also is a tutorial that IXL puts out. So maybe if you're still a little shaky, that's something you should go in and watch to get a few more examples, see it from a different person, see it in a slightly different way. And of course, you can always reach out to your teacher for help. But I believe you can do it. So go ahead, try this IXL assignment, and reach out if you need anything. Bye.